All right. Welcome, Tiffany, to this podcast. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm really interested to get to know you a little bit. So, if you want to tell a little bit about yourself before we start.
Yeah. So I am Tiffany. I live in Norway. I'm living in like a small town that's very cozy, very farmy. Um, Not a lot of people live here, but I like it. I like it peaceful. I like it calm. I am 28. I am a guide. I would say coach, guide. I like the word guide better. I feel like the word coach has like been used so much in our industry, but definitely a guide. And yeah, I am just really living my life. I enjoy horses. I'm such like an animal girl, very like into nature. Yeah. Yeah, like, is there more to know? There's probably tons more to know. But I'm always like a fan of just,
Yeah.
yeah, opening there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So, like, this podcast is called The Woman Within. And it is a podcast for women to let their voice be heard, to share their heart, and also to share like what their service they are doing in the world. So I want to start to ask you a question, like, what does it mean for you, especially, to be a woman?
Mm. I had to sit down and reflect deeply on this question because it's such a huge question, right? There can be so many, yeah, there's so many things that come up at different times. But for me, what does it mean to be a woman is being embodied in all seasons of life, allowing yourself to embody the emotions, the sensations, really being, um, what can I say, like enveloped in life, like you feel life on your skin. It's very, it's like a very spiritual thing for me to be a woman, definitely, and it means power because I feel like we're just so naturally powerful. We're just so naturally powerful. Like we can literally we can literally almost not do anything and be the most powerful beings on planet, which is pretty insane. Um so yeah, that's what it means to be a woman for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I think there's so many ways to be a woman, but in in this society, and we live in different societies because we live in different countries, but still there has been this that you have to be a woman in a certain way. We have learned how to be a woman, and
Yeah.
and I also created this space to actually for women to yeah, it's hard to say, but to create a space where they can create the woman they want to become. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to create, because it didn't fit me the way we had to be women, the way we have been taught to be a woman. I didn't feel like a whole woman in that. Can you recognize something of that in your life also?
100%. Absolutely. I feel like growing up, um, I've always been different. Like I've always known that life is meant to be something else than just what I grew up in. I felt like I was the kid, the girl who was so in awe of everything that I looked outside the car window when we took a drive, took a ride somewhere. I was the girl who was so like into people. I was so curious, but I always felt like I needed to dim it down. Like life wasn't meant to be that simple. That how can you be in joy of everything that's around you all the time? Life is not meant to be that way. So really like dimmed in the form of, or in the way where I just shut down the joy around people, you know, like, and I know
Mm.
that I knew that there was like, this is not the way it's meant to be, you know, life is not meant to be this way. And especially looking at the relationship with my mom as well, and seeing her, like the way she grew up and the way she needed to be, play this part of woman, and all the ways that she've experienced pain. And it's pretty, yeah, it's, I resonate so much with what you just said about the roles we have to play. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, we're so individual. It's crazy. It blows my mind when I think about how um how individual we are as women, like how different we are, like, and how every single woman has to be her unique self to really feel in alignment and to really feel connected to life, and how different that looks like. Because we grow up and we see these maybe like 5 to 10 different ways of being a woman, and we think that, oh, this is what we have to be, or is one of these 10 people. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, the world is so much more and so much bigger. Crazy.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah, so it's really interesting discussion, and I'm also really interested in hearing like what dreams and visions you have for your life. I already have followed you for a long time, so I know also what you have been doing. But maybe you want to tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Oh my God. So yeah, dreams and visions. This is, yeah. I I realized, especially during COVID, I realized how much nature and peace has to say for me. How much I need it in my life. Like, it's a need. I cannot live without it. Like, if I don't have it in my life, I don't feel like myself. And so, one of my biggest dreams and visions is to own a home where the nature is allowed in the windows. So, basically, having massive windows faced into the woods, or, you know, just trees really speak to me for some reason. So I definitely have to like have the lookout on the trees, and then bringing my horses. Like, I love horses, I love animals. So that's definitely a dream, a vision as well, that living on a farm. But again,
Mm.
speaking about roles, I've never resonated with, you know, the red farms and doing it the old fashioned traditional way. I'm more of like, I love my luxury, so I need the luxury with me while being on a farm. So I'm like, I'm gonna have a black
Oh.
farm. I'm gonna have the clean spaces. Yeah. So it's definitely a dream and vision of mine to just be in nature, and of course to have a soul filling relationship. It's like also a very
Mm.
very important thing for me. A relationship that is ever evolving. Um, yeah, for sure, for sure. And I'm curious, like,
Yeah.
what
Oh,
yours
so
are, because I want to get to know you too.
you want to get to know my dreams and visions? Is that what you
Yes.
said? Yeah. Woo!
Yeah.
They're so big. Yeah, but I really have like my biggest vision and dream for my life is actually to be able to support women and really bring women up front, like that they speak their mind and they let their voice be heard. That's also why I made this podcast. And like I have such a
Mm.
passion for women to be confident, because all my life in my family and in my I also go to university and stuff. I see it again and
Mm.
again that a lot of the women, we don't believe in ourselves. We not confident when we go to the exams. We are like always thinking we are not enough when we have to do tasks, and it's like always this, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, and I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just want to like be able to also support other women to just like, of course you can do it, because that's what I have created for myself in my own life. I was totally not believing I was enough when I was younger, and now I go to the exams totally confident, like I own the room, and it's so freeing to just show up as you full you, because a lot of women, we have so many abilities, but we don't believe in our abilities. um yeah, so that's my dream, actually, to be able to support and create spaces for a lot of women, just like celebrating. I see something like that, like we are celebrating, we are eating together, we are
Mm.
I see something like that. Maybe in nature also, yeah. But I have a vision, like to bring women together, and yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Um so I also want to ask you, what are you most proud of in your life?
Mm. What I'm most proud of. I hmm. I'm like, there's so much, which is a good thing. You didn't used to feel that way, for sure. But I feel like one of the things I'm most proud of is my ability to always evolve. I feel like I've always like had this grit about myself. Like I want to be better. I know that everything can be worked through. That the the big what's it called, the big obstacles on our journey are only that, they're only obstacles, like we can overcome everything. And I feel like that's one of the things I'm most proud of, that I've always actually done the work. I've always known that, like, it's moving forward, it's moving forward, it's moving forward. Like nothing gets to stop
Mm.
stop me from growing or evolving. um and I think I've always done it too. I don't really remember how I did it as a kid. I think I just, my staying positive really helped me as a kid. And then now it has evolved into understanding that, oh, it's actually my will and like my drive to knowing that it's meant to be better and that it gets to be better and that no obstacle is too big. Yeah, has to be that
Mm.
one.
Yeah, oh, that's
Yeah.
that's also. I think that's a really nice strength to have, to actually always to see, yeah, kind of see the bright side, or you would call it, but always like I have to keep going, no matter what happens. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
this one is actually my favorite. Like this question is my favorite, and it's like, what gold, I call it gold, but what gold gift, service, whatever you want to call it, are you sharing with the world? Because I have seen your work, and like I said before, I have followed you for a long time. So if you want to like tell me and the ones who are gonna listen to this, like, what is it that you are sharing with us all?
Mm. Yeah, so it's been a journey for me. I feel like I've been doing a lot of things in the period where I didn't really believe in myself and my gifts. I tried out a lot of things because I thought that I needed to be doing what everyone else was successful at. Um, so I think maybe a year ago, or even as close as to 6 months ago, I really landed on, this is my thing. Like you gotta start trusting that this is your thing, because it's your gift, is your natural ability. So like trust it. And I'm still learning to trust it even more. So my gold, my gifts, my service. So it's my gold, my gift is to really be the leader of how women can embody their insane feminine magnetism. how beautiful and easy and powerful that gets to be, that and the gift that we all carry. And another thing is how we can create the deepest fulfillment with men in love and sex. Understanding men deeper, understanding our own patterns deeper, really allowing ourselves to have the highest fucking standards possible that gets to elevate every single time because it's possible, because we want to, and because men also can join in on that game with us, you know? So, yeah.
Mm.
Mm. It felt good to share,
Mm.
actually. So
Yeah.
thank you for the
Wow.
question.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's really interesting to hear, and yeah, that's also like what you just said is also what I have, like when I have followed you, when I came for inspiration. It's also this like
Mm.
kind of met with men, and yeah, and also boundaries, like because it's also an area in my life I have been like relationship. It has been hard for me to navigate that, and so I like to follow
Yeah.
women like you who are like sharing how another way than you have learned, because I just learned these ways, like these very harsh ways, I would say, like this, forget him or blah blah, with your friends, like it doesn't matter, blah, but with no emotion or anything, it's just like, yeah. So I wanted to learn something new ways to be in a relationship with men, and I think it's like really valuable what you share. So
Thank you. I'm glad to hear. I'm happy to hear that.
yeah.
I think like yeah, and I think with you also, like I see you as a very feminine woman, like very connected to your body, like your heart, you feel a lot, you're sensitive. And I feel like for us, this, this guard up and like not opening our hearts, and like men need to prove themselves, like it doesn't feel good to us. Like we feel like there has to be another way that feels more open, that feels more loving. But it's like, well, how do we do that when we don't really know how to do that, when we've not learned how to do that? um so there's definitely bunch of other ways than this like harsh, like, oh fuck that, fuck him, I'm done, or I don't need a man, or the other way with like into the passive feminine, where it's like, oh my god, I need him and it's too much and I can't take it, like the drama piece. So
Mm.
there's, yeah, there's definitely more aligned ways to do it, for sure, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so I want to hear, what
Mhm.
was it that inspired you to go that way, like to start to talk about that?
Mm. I wrote down my past. So
Oh.
it's my past basically. So it's one of the things are seeing my mom and dad, like their very unhealthy dynamic growing up. And I've always been an observer of the man and female dynamic when they're together. Like since I was a kid, it was always interesting to me, and I knew that I also found myself having a lot of advice for people as a very young kid for ways that they can actually fix their communication and how to be better
Yeah.
together. So I feel like it's just something I was born with. um, and then also, seeing them too in a very unhealthy situation, it led me to be in very unhealthy situations with men. I was super jealous. I used to have little trust issues. I used to need tons of validation from men to feel good enough, and it never really filled my confidence. It just filled me in the moment, when I was with men. So I didn't really feel worthy in myself. Um, and yeah, those are the things, like the past and just being a natural observer led me
Mm.
to want to teach these things. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, I also think a lot of us, we is like from our own life, and we're like, okay, I don't like that way how it is I don't like how that was in my life. I actually want to change something here. And
Mm.
then we also naturally want to like tell other people, hello, look here. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. We do.
Yeah. So it's like, oh
It's
my
true.
God.
But yeah, exactly. And it's
Yeah.
because we know that it works, but it's like we gotta also know that that works for us. So if we do
Yeah.
not bring the other person into the account, like, well, what works for you? That's where the coaching and guiding come in versus just giving like, the advice. That's why I say all the time that you
Mhm.
you like receiving advice from your girlfriends, like you gotta understand if they're taking you and your way to do it into account. Like, don't believe everything that they're saying because usually it's things that have worked for them or not worked for them, and those can actually maybe work for you or not work for you. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that's
Yeah.
also an interesting thing. This with the in the coaching, because I have experience. I have been in a lot of coaching containers, and a lot of the times they actually were teaching me, "This is how I did it. Just do it." And I was like, "We didn't have the same life," so. So I also think that's
Yeah.
an interesting point to talk about because it's like, yeah, but we have totally different lives, so I don't think it maybe will work out the same with me if I just do what you did. um,
Yes,
so that's really interesting. So as you
exactly.
said, also asking questions, like, so what do you think this is about, or like, and that's also coaching, actually asking questions to the people, like, what is this about, and what do you think, instead of saying
Yeah.
this is the way and this is how you do, and if you don't do it, no success here, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's so interesting, and I also think it has changed a lot. All this, I don't know if you have seen it, but there has been a lot of change in the coaching industry or whatever you call it, because all of them are not coaches, but it's still like, I think there's now they realize everything doesn't work for everyone, because a lot of people have just not, it has not worked for a lot of people. All the um yeah, so I think it's a new time, and it has also been interesting to be part of that world from when it was like just do like me, and now this change. And how do you feel? Does it affect you also? Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually gonna mention it just now. Like there
Mm.
are times are changing for sure. And I remember like being in containers when I first started my business like 7 or 8 years ago. And that was when like the coaching industry really started becoming
Mm.
popular. And then I was in containers with coaches that it was so masculine, and it didn't even fit my way of coaching or guiding, or it was so like in a system and do this thing and then you'll get a ton of clients. And it's like the world is moving towards more individuality, like focusing on the individual. And it's moving towards more of the feminine way of leading, right? So I feel like it's so
Mm.
cool to see how the world is evolving in this universal energy for the collective, that the feminine is really being the the force right now. Like we gotta step into our feminine. Men needs to get in touch with their femininity. Our coaching industry has to
Mm.
be more like surrendered, more relaxed, individual. So yeah, for sure, I see it, and it's so good
Mm.
that you two see it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, so do you have like I actually don't want to call it advice, but do you have some things you want to say to other women? Like message. Let's say it's a message because I don't like advice actually, but message. Do you have a message for other women that listen to this podcast?
Yeah, so I was reflecting a bit before our call here, and some words like came down, and so or came down, came through, came down from above, I guess. um, and they were open your body up, reveal the truths of your hearts and your soul, no matter what they are. And men want to feel your joy and your turn on and express yourself and your hotness freely without shame. Those are like the three that I want to say today because,
Oh my god, yeah.
yeah, they're powerful as
Like I
well.
really
They
felt that.
live by these. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Live by
really felt them.
these.
I was like, yeah, like say that again. I think I will listen to it afterwards because I was like, yes.
I can
Oh
say it
my
again.
god. Yeah, because actually these like what you just said, like your magnetism and all that, I really have hidden it a lot of times because I was how it feels in my body is like I feel scared when I open up with my joy and because it's actually vulnerable, you know? I feel scared that somebody will take advantage of my energy. That's how it feels when I let it loose and just yeah, like when I walk through the world like that, I feel like somebody will come from the side. That's how it feels. They will come from the side and grab the energy, or you know, that's how it feels in my body. So usually I just
Right.
close down because then they cannot take it from me. It sounds really, but that's yeah, that's how it feels for me. So I've been scared a lot to just allow it, you know, without shame, like you say, because I feel really vulnerable in that place. Whew.
Yeah. It's so that's so important that you just said that because that's one of the biggest fears. I've had it and I still have it from time to time because it's experienced so intense. So it's like it is like you said, it's vulnerable and it's intense and it's like we I feel like the reason why we feel that way is because at some point we have experienced someone either taking advantage or shaming us for it or placing something upon us that we didn't want to receive because we were so open. So it was experienced as unsafe to be that way. So
Mm,
it's teaching our nervous system to be safe in it again, and that's why it feels so freaking scary because we're opening up to potentially receiving these like hits again, although we're actually not going to. So that's like, oh,
mm.
it's a big nervous system job, and it's I'm so happy that you shared it because I feel like a lot of women experienced it. That was good. Thank you for
Yeah,
being vulnerable and sharing that. Yeah.
yeah, because that's really how it feels, you know. Because I can energetically, I can not even say the word energetic. I can't say it today.
Okay, we get what you mean.
Energetically, yes. Some days I have words I can't say. I try. It's like no, but yeah, I just feel it like woo, and I also feel like I have all eyes on me. And maybe that could sound good,
Yeah.
but actually, it feels overwhelming when all eyes are on you. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a very vulnerable
yeah. So
place
I,
to be in your feeling so alive and so full of joy.
yeah,
It's like it is the most vulnerable thing you can experience or allow yourself to embody actually because it's so free, because it's so open, because your aura is so loud, so you are being seen when you embody it.
yeah,
So yeah, like no joke. It's a real job to get yourself to embody it freely, and it's going to be a lifelong job. And one of the things is that
Mm,
really like that has helped me the past, I would say the past weeks, is that we or what is the thing that I've said to myself? I've mentioned to myself time and time again that like I'm proud of you for doing this work. You're shifting out of old patterns. You're allowing yourself to feel more safe in this energy. Take it day by day. Like be proud, because what you're actually doing is shedding old skin. You're releasing things that have been stuck in your lineage for years, like for women in our existence, right? It's not an easy job, but like we're doing it, and allow yourself to sink into, wow, this is good. I'm proud of myself, because that's the fucking work.
mm.
And it also helps to ease your nervous system. So it's a win, it's a win-win.
Yeah, win-win. Yeah. Oh. Oh, I really like our talk, and it's like really interesting topics. And I think if these women who will listen to this podcast, if they want to know more about the work that you do, or they want maybe to do some courses or whatever you have going on, where can they find you? And where can they find more information about you?
Yeah, so Instagram is my main portal right now. It's Tiffany with a Y, and then Gnaly, which is my last name. And I also have a podcast, the Pleasure Pals podcast. But you find all of my info through Instagram. It's where I'm the most active. So yeah, Instagram for sure.
Yes. And I will also put it underneath the podcast. I will put so they can just press and then they can find you. All right. I think we are actually at the end. So, do you have some last words here before we say bye?
I think I've said it all today.
Hmm.
All that
Yeah,
needed to
today.
be said. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for having me
joining.
here. Like it's been, yeah.
Yeah. Really, thank you for joining. And that has been, and I actually just want to say to you, you have a really calming energy. Like, wow. Because I usually get overexcited when I do this podcast. But when I started to talk to you, I was like, just calming down. So I just want to say that.
Thank you. Oh, that's a huge
Yeah.
compliment
So
for
that's,
me. Cause yeah, wow, thank
yeah.
you.
So just wanted to let you know that your presence is really calming. So,
Mm, yes.
all right. Thank you so much. And I will see you around in the space in the social media place.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good.
Absolutely.
Bye.